Good morning, good afternoon, good evening once again. So let's get started for today. And welcome to the ERP Cloud Bootcamp. This is the review sessions. And today we're looking at the develop phase. And we're in the phase where we are testing, building and testing. And we're kind of like in this phase where we refine, build, test, review. So we are in another iteration of this process. So yesterday and the day before, we started off by building off the GL APAR. So we've gone through that. So today we're going to be looking at the integration part of the initial testing, and this is where we kick in with banks. Banks are mainly for the outbound interfaces. These are interfaces going out to the bank and also for receipts for funds that we'll be receiving. So today we're going to start by looking at banks and mainly looking at payments. So that's basically what we'll be looking at today. So let's go straight into the application and let's get started with this. So I'm going to go straight into creating a bank account. One thing to know is that banks are shared between APAR and also payroll. So they are all shared. So I'm going to go into setup and maintenance. Hopefully, this will be a lot quicker today. And I'm going into financials. And I want to select cash management. And I want to go into manage banks. I'm just going to switch up my video so that it moves a lot quicker. So manage banks. We're going to go into details of cash management much later, but today, let's first of all look at it more from the integration aspect, creating a bank and looking at what we need to do from that aspect. So manage banks. There's quite a few banks, and you have managed bank branches. So normally you will have a bank which is shared across. You have bank branches, and when you go to manage branches, I'm going to select one that already exists, bank branches. So banks and bank branches are shared. And then when you get to bank account, this is where you're creating the bank account of your own bank account. So with banks and bank branches, you're looking at bank and bank branches of the suppliers and the customers. So let me go into manage bank accounts. This is to set up our own bank account. Manage bank accounts. So I'm going to I'm going to create my bank account name. I'm going to call it Acme Bank of America. I'm going to make up the account number. Actually, no, this is my search. Sorry, I want to use a bank and the bank branch that already exists. So let's add from here. So bank branch that already exists. I'm going to use Bank of America. And just trying to find the bank branch. Okay, let me search for New York. New York. So I'm going to use this Bank of America in New York. So that's our bank account. And account name, this is where I'm going to call it Acme BOA. So the bank and the bank account would already have been set up. They're going to be the same, whether it's supplier or customer. But what changes is the account number and the account details. So just making my own account number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So an example, currency is US dollars. And then my legal entity will be my Acme Inc. Acme Inc. And again, I can specify my account type, which is optional. So that's my Acme Inc. And you can see that it's specified my cash clearing. Again, all of these are coming in from my setup. So I can say that I want to use this account for payables and also for receivables. And there are other controls that we'll be looking at much later when we get to cash management. So you got controls and also security. But the key thing for us is to have business unit access. So let's go to business unit access and add our own business unit. So for our legal entity, this is the bank. And we just want to allow transactions from our BU to be paid via this bank account. That's basically what we're doing. Again, you can have overriding cash and cash clearing accounts at this level. So that's the bank setup. Let's save and close. So what I'm going to do now is make a payment. I'm going to make a payment. And let's see what would happen. I could, if I wanted to, decide that I want to pay electronically. So, but let's see if I can make a payment first before I go into those level of detail. Again, we're going to look at electronic payment in a bit more detail later. But we've created a bank. We've got a bank account. We've assigned a bank account to our business unit and our legal entity. So let me go back to payables. Yesterday we created we created an invoice, and let's see if we can pay an invoice based on the bank that we've just set up. So let's have a look at payments made. So invoices created in the last 24 hours. This is our invoice. This was the invoice that we created yesterday. And let's have a look. It's taking its time to load the page. So this is our invoice from yesterday. So what we want to do is pay this invoice. So if I go to invoice actions, And let me go to manage installments. So from manage installments, you can see that there's the preferred method of payment for this supplier is electronic, and it's got a bank account. Now, if I decide that I want to pay in check or any of these other payments, I'll select it from here. That's the preferred payment method for this actual document. Let me save and close. And let's see if I can make a payment. Invoice actions. Actually, I'm going to try something because it should be able to make an electronic payment. But let's because there is also, if this doesn't work, then we'll try the check payment. This should work. Invoice actions, pay in full. So you can see that now we selected my bank, Acme Bank of America, because that's the only bank that is assigned to my LE, yeah, and my BU. This is my business unit and my LE. So it's asking for a payment process profile. I'm going to use MT103. MT103. These are the outbound payment formats that the bank would usually use. Now there are other payment profiles. Their examples are your XML ISO 20022. So this is an example of that format, JPM ISO 20022. Again, depending on the payment method, it could be via any of these. Then again, I'm going to talk about payment process profile when we go into payments much later. Remember that this is the first level. All we're doing is that, can we actually generate a file? Is our setup, do we need certain things to do in our setup? Do we need to clarify more information? For example, this is where you will ask the business, what is your bank account? What are the payment methods? What are the different kinds of payments that they make in different currencies and so on? So here, you're going through the system, you're asking questions as well for your next iteration of your MVP. So let's submit. Have a look. And then this should generate an output file, which we're going to look at. And then we'll look at the customer's receipt. So we have a payment, $7770 for $260. And let me just do save and close. And what I'm going to do is look at the output file for this payment file. And this is where discussions will start. And you start to speak to the bank that we have this output file. What is the payment format? What is the output format? There might be some build required. When I say build, I'm talking about some development effort to build the output file. So scheduled processes. So this will generate one of the output files. So this is my payment files, format payment files. I'm going to use hierarchy to see the groupings. So there's still some things going on here. I can't see my build program. Let's go back to my flat list. I'm expecting my build program. Okay, that's finished. Let's go to more. And Not sure what's going on. Let's try it again. More. Right, that's the text file. So this text file is the output file. Now, I do have an output file. Go back to show you what the output file looks like. So this is the output file for the payment. I'm not sure if I can. Oops. No, it's disappeared somewhere. So you can see that this file format, this is something that the bank would build. Not that the bank, no. So the bank will give you a sample file, and then your tech guys will build this file. I mean, there's a layout behind this. And when we get to payments from the technical perspective, I'll show you how to create a specification for this file. Now, you can see the supplier. These are the supplier details, the bank details for the supplier. This is our own bank and our bank details, and that's the amount, that's the date, and you have all the information in here. So that's basically how to make a payment. And now what we want to do is look at how to create a receipt. So to create a receipt, let me click on home, and let's go to, first of all, we need to actually create, for receivables, we need to create the receipt methods and receipt class. So that's the core thing that we need to create. Now, receivables is slightly different to payables, because here you're looking at the customer paying us some money, and then we need to be able to identify how they're going to pay. Again, I'm going to go into receipting much later in the course. And one of the key things is the method by which we receive the money from the customer. So it could be electronic, it could be they'll send us a check, which is basically out of fashion these days. But it could also be that they could use other methods of paying us, credit card and so on and so forth. So there are various methods of receiving payments from our customers. So the first thing we want to do is set up the method by which we want to receive the funds for our own specific BU. There are some already set up. For the purpose of this session today, I'm going to use a method of manual. We're going to go into the build phase where we're going to look at other methods. So first, let's create our receipt class and method. So we're going to go into customer payments, and I'm going to select my receipt classes and methods. And let's do a search. So I'm looking for a method which is manual. So this is the manual method. So that's no remittance, direct payment. So that's the one that I want to use. Now, similar to your payables, at the moment, there isn't, one needs to be able to attach the business unit to the method. So I'm going to create a receipt method under manual called, well, I'm going to try not to be too intuitive. I'm just going to call it manual. Printed name, manual. Effective start date, 1/1/23. And then I'm just going to add my business unit to it. And I'm going to put in some of the GL accounts. So business unit is my Acme US, and that should select my bank. So my bank is my Bank of America. Remember, we created the bank earlier on. We attached our BU to it. So that's how it's known. And also my account number. So that's my account number. So we're going to receive funds into this account. And effective start date, 1/1/3. I can see that it's immediately populated some of my GL accounts. Now, some of these accounts are coming from my transaction types. So unearned discount and discount, there's no claim investigation, so I'll leave that as is. So let's save this. Then do my save and close. Again, a lot of these are coming in from the spreadsheet. So on the manual, I should have my BU. So when you're doing this exercise, you can just go to manual and add your BU. You don't need to create another one called manual. Save and close. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a receipt. Let's click on done. I do have my receivables. So let's go home and I'm going to select receivables. So from receivables, and I'm going to go to accounts receivable. There was an invoice we created yesterday for our customer. So today I'm going to assume that we're going to receive some payment for this. So let me first of all have a look at the details of that. Of that invoice. I go to billing. Let's select manage transactions, and transaction date equals yesterday. Let's search. So this is my transaction. So it's for Pinnacle Technologies for 20,000. Now, I just want to mention a few things on this. So on this invoice, we have payment terms net 30 days. But I'm going to be paying. So there is a discount to 10. You know, there's a discount. I'm going to talk about discounts and so on later, but there's a discount on this if paid early. So this is the due date, 15th of April, but there's a discount. So I'll mention that when I enter the details. So Pinnacle Technologies, and there is a discount. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into receipts, accounts receivable, I'm going to select create receipt. for my business unit, Acme US. My receipt method is going to be manual. Receipt method I created earlier on, so you can see that's there. And then I'm just going to make up my receipt number. So you can see that it's populated my bank details immediately. So I'm going to give you some receipt number, RCV 170323-1725. Entered amount 19600. So that's the amount that we've received. And we've received this from our customer called Pinnacle Technologies. So that's, and then my site is my Seattle. So that's whom we received the funds from. So what I need to do now is go to my open receivables, and I want to search for all the transactions that are available. And the system will use a method of finding this. So it's found that these are the invoices that are available. So let me just add this to my open receivables. So that's added it down here. So I'm going to click on done. So that's added this. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to now submit and auto apply. So I want this to automatically apply these funds. Total reference amount exceeds the amount of payment. Let's click on OK. Okay, so actually I should have changed this to 19600. Not sure what's going to happen now, but that's fine. Let's see. We're in test mode. That should auto apply. So, okay, saying that on total amount, total unapplied amount. Okay. So it's giving me some recommendation because the amount is not exactly the same. So I'm just going to say accept. I haven't paid the whole amount. Hit part of it. So it's accepted. And then this is now when it now recognizes that discount. Add application. Actually, hold on. What's going on here? Must enter a value. Okay, let's delete. I think I've broken it. 317.23. Yeah, because it's actually applied the total applied amounts. Okay, let me just save and close. I think I've broken this. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, okay, I know what's happened. I was trying to add another line. So let's do this. Yeah. So it's actually applied this applied amount. So all I needed to do was just save and close. So basically what's happened there is that it uses an algorithm to find out, because the amount wasn't exactly the same, to say that I'm adding some amounts. And then it then uses that to match, and then accepted what I suggested. So basically, we've created receipt, and let me just look at my receipts. I want to also create accounting, but let's have a look at receipt date equals today. Let's see what comes up. Just want to make sure that it's applied that receipt. So there you go. So it's actually applied the receipt. So that's fine. So what I want to do now is I want to run create accounting for both payables and receivables. So let me just do that. Let's do receivables first. Pre-receivables accounting as a ledger, and it's for everything, all the process categories, post to ledger, and so on. So let's just do this. Submit. I'm going to do another one for payables. Let's go to home, and let me select payables. Invoices. I'll just run create accounting for payables. Create accounting. And select payables. Select it for our ledger. Just US. And then let's submit. So I've submitted my create accounting for both payables and receivables. So if I go into my journals, I should be able to see the transactions for payables and receivables. So let's have a look at the journals. Again for March 23. And okay, this is for the, okay, I think the journals haven't finished. Let's have a look. Monitor processes just to check. Fresh. Right, posting. So still running the post journals for single ledger. So wait for them to finish before we're very eager to go through. So in terms of today, the exercise for today is creating banks, branches, bank accounts, editing your bank account, paying a supplier's invoice, and receiving funds from a customer. So I'll probably say that today is a bit light touch, and just give you some more time to be able to finish or catch up if you haven't caught up with some of the API and AR. But let's have a look at this before we do a quick recap of what we've done so far. So that's done. I'm going to go back to my general ledger to view the transactions. And let's go to journals. Let's just first of all see the journals created. There you go. So we can now see the receipts and payments. So for receipts, so that's my receipts. And also for my payments. There you go. So we've done a quick run through of GL, AP, AR setup, and a little bit of cash management. And also we've done our initial testing of creating invoices, both AP and AR invoices, and also paying them, paying the customer, and also paying the supplier, and also receiving funds from the customer, paying supplier, receiving funds from the customer. So that's basically what we've done for the bulk of this week. And there's still quite a bit for us to do. We are halfway through the course. Next week, we are looking at the tech design. We're going to be looking at more on the integration side of things. Next week, we're going to be looking at reporting. We're going to be looking at approvals and also the accounting hub. Now, I'm going to open up, I was going to say the floor. I'm going to open up the mic for you guys to be able to ask questions before we close for today. So any questions? Okay, there's one question in the chat. Question is, does bank details come as seeded data in Oracle Cloud? No, it doesn't come as seeded. It's part of the data migration activity, and there are various reasons for that, because bank data is considered one of those data that it's probably classified as standing data. It shouldn't change that much, but bank data changes. Now, and Oracle don't want to be responsible for ownership of that kind of data. So that's probably one of the reasons why that data is not one of the data that you would normally load as part of the seeded data in the Oracle Cloud applications. So what you can do is speak to your bank and ask them to send you the raw data that you can use to load into Oracle. And that's one of the usual requirements. So very, very early on in the project, you should be able to ask the business to get that information for you. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, hi, Yemi. I've got a funny question. Well, I don't know if it's funny, but you know where you mentioned there's a discount of £400?
Yeah.
Why would they offer a discount? And maybe I haven't got my accounting head on, but why would they offer a discount in the sense that if you're owed 20,000 and you offer a discount, that you're getting less money in? So I don't quite understand why they would offer discount.
It's an incentive
Yeah.
make payments quickly. You know,
Right.
same thing as when you go to a shop and there's a sale and they offer you a discount. They just want you to make a commitment on the spot.
Okay.
Yeah, so what some companies do is that if you pay early, then you do get a discount. Yeah.
Okay, so the opposite of that is where you don't offer a discount and you may not sell the item.
Yeah, yeah,
So the discount, as you say, is an incentive.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, I understand now. Thanks.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
No, that's fine. I've got a question here in the chat that says, does Oracle Cloud integrate directly with banks? It can integrate directly with banks. From a payments perspective, yes, it does. Now, there is a limitation on the receipting side of things. When we get to integration, I will mention that specifically in that session. But Oracle Cloud integrates directly with banks, yes. Yeah, you can, yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Got about 15 minutes.
I'd just like to ask another question. The fact that the person said it can integrate with banks, what would the bank, when you integrate it, what does that give you in terms of value?
Right. So let me give you a scenario, and this happens a lot. So if you're going to be paying your suppliers, you want the file that you generate to go directly to your bank, and for the bank to then use that to connect with your supplier's bank and be able to make that payment automatically, so that you don't need to intervene at all in that process. So that's the integration aspect of it. And it should be seamless. It's the same as you using your credit card when you go to a store to pay for something. Yeah, so that's integrated. And before you walk out of the store, you get an alert on your phone to say that your account's been debited. So that's exactly what happens. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So Oracle also integrates in that kind of manner. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not risky in any way.
No, it's not.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Now there is a limitation. There is a limitation in Oracle in receivables, where if you have if you have an integration with credit cards, you have to do it by a third party, because the Oracle servers are not PCI compliant for storing credit card details. So you have to use an external agent. Yeah, agent like PayPal or any of the Stripe. There's so many other ones that you can use.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. I can see. Yeah, go on. Yeah, no, go on, Bella. Yeah.
Okay, so when the customer makes payments, does it show in cash management? I'm just wondering, where does the AR specialist gets to see the
so what happens is that the two ways. One, some customers will send a remittance advice to let you know that they've made a payment, and that's the first time you would know. You would get the reference and so on. The second time is whether is when the funds come in via the bank. So when you do your cash management reconciliation, that's when you get the side of the payment from your customer.
Okay, so the remittance advice, how do they send it? Is it via email?
Yeah, it could be by email, it could be by logbox. There's a lot of different methods that they use. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but you see, what happens now is that when you go on project, you discover that the banking integration for receiving funds is actually quite is improved a lot in the last few years. So the bank will also send you the file, the remittance file, once they get the remittance, even before you get to cash management for reconciliation purposes. So you should be able to process that remittance file, but it does take some setup for it to happen.
Okay, to process it in Oracle, right? Okay.
Yeah, because there are some fields that you need to map. I'll take you through that when we go through cash management on that mapping. So that when the data comes in, you should be able to identify could be the reference number, it could be the reference number, could be your transaction number. There are other things, whether it's paid in a batch, and there's a lot of, it could get very complex, but yeah, but it's doable. Remittances, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I've got a hand up. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's here today. Good evening.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, I have a question, and this is a use case scenario. So I have a client of mine who uses the reconciliation for their payroll transactions. So they use a manual reconciliation. However, when they actually, send the payroll information into GL, they are seeing almost like over 6,000 lines. And they don't want to see these lines on the GL side. They said they rather see, one line rather than 6,700 lines, which means that their matching rule, they want to see one to many rather than one to one. So, and I just want to ask a question with regard to this, that in GL, is it possible? Because if you look at the thing is they're doing manual reconciliation, but they're using the batch number for the GL. And I said that when they use the batch number, it should actually reduce, baseline. But I've never seen a situation where they will have 6,000 odd lines for their transactions, and then they will see one line of that in GL. And I just want to check is that right? Or could they still have one line, one to many, or many to one, rather than, seeing 6,000 lines in the GL?
Okay, it depends on how the file has been interfaced, the interface file, how that's been built.
Okay.
Now, there are reasons why they may want to split that out. There are reasons why they may want it in batch. The payroll system. So I'm assuming that that's not Oracle, or is it Oracle?
It is Oracle. It is Oracle. Yeah.
Okay, so if it's Oracle, then they should be able to do a group by from the outbound file from payroll, or when it gets into GL, there are settings in SLA that you can group it by transaction date, so that when the journal comes in, you just see you see it as a batch total debit, and rather than so there's a setting in your GL setup or in SLA for payroll that will help you to do that. So because it still come through SLA into GL. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you I just wanted to confirm that, because there's been a lot of controversy around this, and
I think somebody's put it in the chat, says it's summarized by account combination, which is what you can do. So it's a summary. Yeah.
Okay.
So to check that setting in your SLA, so that's something that you can do.
Okay, then. Thank you very much.
Hi, Yemi. Wouldn't that total show in the journal itself?
Yeah, the total will show in the journal. But
yeah, meaning if you looked at the journal, you see all the lines, but then you see a total for that journal, which should balance with the debits and credits.
Yeah, but what they want to see is that they don't want to see in the individual transaction. They just want to see one line for debit, another line for credit.
Yeah, and this is actually information from the bank statement. So they've uploaded the bank statement. They're trying to do a manual reconciliation. They don't want to see 6,700 lines, or they're odd, showing, as is showing in the bank statement line, which is the transaction line, compared to the system's transaction lines.
Okay, can I ask a question? In the bank, is it one line or 6,000 lines?
6,000 lines.
Or in bank?
Yes, in the bank statement.
Oh, okay. And in GL is one line.
And in GL, they want one line rather than 6,700 lines again.
I'm thinking if there was a mistake, then how would they reconcile it if they're just seeing the summary of the total?
Yeah,
They
so
might want to see both, I would have thought.
yeah, so my what I suggested to them, but that's why I wanted to confirm. What I suggested to them is that they could do it by batches. So they have a batch number, they pull that in, and they can actually look at the batch number compared to this to the transaction lines. But I wasn't too sure whether that will work because they will still see 6,000 odds systems transaction lines
As well, yeah.
as well. So and I just wanted to know whether there is any configuration in the matching rule that can say, okay, we want to see one to many or many to one, if that will work.
Okay.
So that they won't see. Yeah.
We're going to go to cash management later, but in cash,
Okay.
there are matching rules which can help you to do that. But
Okay.
it seems as if that some of the requirements from this scenario needs to be fully understood.
Okay.
I think I understand what you're trying to do, but as Tony said, if they want to reconcile that, then how are they going to, if there's an issue? But then the other thing is that if the data is coming from the bank in not as a batch, then one needs to know. I mean, there's a few bits and pieces because the bank, if the bank sends one value for a total, then that makes more sense rather than having 6,000 lines because you still have to reconcile it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's going, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I will wait for the cash management thing just to see whether the matching rules will be able to help them.
It's very odd. It's very odd. I've been on so many sites and I've never seen that, to be honest. I've only seen summaries by account for payroll data coming into GL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a complicated one, and we just go rounds and rounds this way. But I think
Well, I'm talking about 20 odd years of experience here, and I'm sure there are people on. I mean, it's odd to see that data in GL. That's basically where I'm coming from. Very, very odd. Yeah.
Okay.
Very odd.
Okay then.
Cash management, maybe, but in GL.
Yeah, because the thing is when you even run the SLA or you run, I think what it is that it will still come to reconciliation where you reconcile your payroll account or your GL account anyway.
Right. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, someone's put something here in the chat. Let me see. Can't SLA and I think transaction still has to come in per line when they can now summarize. Can't SLA group the batch transaction by date? So if those 6,000 lines are the exact salary of individual, then yeah, so that's basically what I'm saying. You can't have the individual's salaries in GL. Yeah, so yeah, wrong to have that in GL. Yeah, yeah. So that's basically what I'm saying. But again, we can have a look at this offline, and then but it just seems a bit odd. Yeah. So there might be some setups that needs to be done to help you to resolve that issue. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh, Yemi, I've got, I sent a question in the thing. When I was trying to do the setup yesterday,
Yeah.
Allocating the purchasing agent to the user.
Oh yeah, procurement agent.
Yeah. Procurement user, yeah. It was not having it. So I just did a few kind of investigations and I had to add like a procurement manager to it, and then it worked.
Oh, okay.
Because all the other roles, it still wasn't having it. I couldn't see the user amongst the when I did the search, I
Yeah.
did my company, I did the search, it wasn't coming up until I added the procurement manager.
Was procurement manager one of the roles you needed to add? I think so. Or maybe I've missed that in the list.
Yeah, it wasn't, I think it wasn't in the list. It wasn't in the list. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Can I just add to that, please?
Sorry?
No, I want to add to the point you just raised now about
Yeah.
my manager.
Okay.
Okay. So I think do you have the buyer, the buyer role?
Did I have the buyer role?
I think the buyer role is actually
The key one.
Yeah.
So I might have missed that one. Yeah, I had the billings. Probably I think I missed something.
Yeah. Check the roles.
Yeah, I think I missed something and then added it later. Yeah.
because it came true for me. I didn't have to add the procurement manager actually.
Oh, okay.
But you had the buyer role, yeah?
Yes, I had the buyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the buyer role is essential for viewing
procurement,
yeah,
yes.
procurement, yeah.
Probably I think what happened when I was trying to manage the data access to the role, I probably added before, then kind of forgot to add it in the second
Right.
step. Probably, yeah.
Okay.
But it was a good exercise though. Really.
That's fine.
Thanks.
That's good. Okay, if there's no more questions, then have a great weekend and see you on Monday. If you haven't finished the labs, you've got the weekend to go through it, and then we will meet again on Monday afternoon. Okay.
Nice weekend, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, and have a great weekend. Thank you.
Great weekend, everyone.
Have a nice
Bye.
weekend.